What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Getting Technical, episode 41.
41, yeah.
Yeah, so just had first week of the NFL playoffs.
It's a nice little wild card weekend, man.
It was alright. Like, in my opinion, like outside of like that one game with like Stafford coming back to Detroit, like it was pretty much a wash in my opinion. Like, I wasn't
watching the Cowboys get upset was nice. You know, Baker doing his thing. You know, we put up that little clip of Zach saying, you know, was that no? Who was he saying? Never mind.
Oh yeah. So last year, Zach, when we did one of the podcasts around this time, he said that Jordan Love's better than Dak. Will be better than Dak if they trade Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm totally blanking. The Packers played the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So not Baker, but Jordan Love coming out there balling, doing his thing. Well, I mean, like Baker did do his thing. They came out there and just dismantled the Eagles. I said that last week. I was just like, yo, like you guys gotta watch out for Todd Bowles. Sorry, Sean Twist. You boys did not look good. Jalen Hurts did not look good. He looked banged up. Not having A.J. Brown hurts, but Todd Bowles just brought the pressure all night and just got to him. What else? What do we have?
We had C.J. Stroud rout the Browns.
Yeah.
Which I'm not gonna lie, at least for me, like I had a terrible week as far as picks go. I was wrong. I thought the Rams were gonna upset the Lions. I thought Joe Flacco was gonna come in there and win that game.
Same.
I think everyone was on the same page about the Chiefs. I mean,
yeah.
Especially in that weather, like the Dolphins hadn't looked good going into that game either. So it was kind of a crapshoot, but.
But yeah, that weather was just Tua just.
Yeah, he was terrible. But the whole team just like their defense didn't really show up. Nothing really. There was a lot of bad defense this week, or I guess better offense, however you want to look at it.
I mean, there was some. I mean, but like that Dallas game, it's just like do you blame the Dallas defense? Yeah, they let up 40 points, but it's just like when you get down so quick, Dak's making early turnovers on their side of the field, the pick six. It's tough on a defense where they're constantly on the field. It's the same problem that a lot of teams that have bad offenses. The defense suffers because they're on the field all game long, and they tire out. So third quarter comes along and it was 27-0 at the half or whatever, 27-3 at the half. It's just but by the time the third quarter comes around, they're gassed because they've been on the field all game, and then everything just continues to fall apart. Any kind of defensive stops that they could be trying to make is just not going to happen because they just have no energy. Big Blaze in the building.
Wow, look at that. We're live on TikTok right now.
Yo, you know what's crazy is they don't even save you a parking spot.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Miles doesn't leave, and Savion's home at 11.
What's going on all day today? What are you talking
Bruce and David.
This dude Blaze comes home at 7 o'clock every night, and he's blaming other people for not leaving.
Bruce, please, you guys have to go onto your TikTok and start watching us live.
I've never downloaded TikTok.
They don't have to.
Oh.
Anti-China.
You know what? You're good.
You gotta put the stream on.
You're right.
You gotta leave it on. We had 7 people, now we only have 3.
China propaganda, fellas.
Oh God!
Oh, you're not in the shot. I zoomed it really in.
Come on over.
Who's like?
Huh? Should we get the third mic?
Are we live? If you wanted to join.
Yeah,
we're live on TikTok right now. You know the vibes.
What's the audience? Who we got?
So far, I think it's gonna be just me.
Fletcher?
No, we had 7 before. We got
7.
The man of the hour.
Mr. West. Have a great day.
Oh,
Mr. West.
Mr. West.
We got. Who the fuck is?
The Tom Squared in the house.
Spark, it's a pleasure to see you.
You're adjusting the camera?
Yeah.
Oh, this is me.
Oh, this is me.
Have a great, Mr. West. You have a great day, my friend.
Where's the trolls? What's that kid's name?
Oh, I'd like to shout out Luke Thompson.
This is TikTok.
I know, Luke Thompson.
I don't know.
About Eric?
We got Doc?
No, you sent me a video.
I don't know.
All right.
73 likes.
For the pod.
We got 7 people in here ever since we lost every single one of them.
If I just spam it like this, we'll just keep getting hearts.
Oh, nuts. What are you guys talking about? Baker Mayfield?
Let's go Bills. Let's go Lions.
We were talking a little Baker.
We love Baker.
We were talking a little Baker.
Bro,
Thank
let
God.
me see
In
mine.
Baker we trust, baby.
Buddy.
In Baker we trust. Winning me
Lions,
$500.
You're not in it.
Buddy,
It
well, it wasn't solely due to him, but he was the last leg. He was the last
him.
leg. Really needed that.
When in doubt, Baker
Did
it out.
you readjust?
Yeah.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
All right.
You should get David on the pod.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
All right. Back to the podcast. Back to the podcast. We're talking about the Cowboys.
Ryan D joined.
Who?
Ryan D.
Ryan D. What's good, bro?
Hi, Ryan.
We love you, Ryan.
Tom, can you shift that camera like a smidge to your right?
My right?
Yeah.
Oh, like
No.
you're right, you idiot. Nice.
Dude, the other way.
Oh my God, way too much.
This?
No.
Look at that.
Too much still.
You gotta go back.
Nice.
That's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, back to business. We're talking about the Cowboys.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just a shit showing from them the whole time. I mean,
Right.
in the first half, their offense, I think they scored 7 points. I think they got a last-second touchdown to Ferguson. Remember?
Oh,
I think it was a fourth down. They went for it.
Yeah, they had that
little toss to
that little
Ferguson.
bootleg. Yeah.
But it was just really all around a terrible showing. I mean, their defense got exposed late in the season by the Bills when James Cook ran for like 200 yards on them. Then they had a few like kind of easy matchups. They lost to the Dolphins. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, and then you see the second half. Dak ends up with great numbers. Ferguson has 3 touchdowns. CD gets his. But just kind of wondering at this point. It's like, what's really good with that team? Like, can they really compete? What do they need? And what I think after that, I think they need a wide receiver too. I think Cooks is fine, but I think he's not a true 2 for them right now.
Right.
And I think they need to address their defense. They don't have a good run defense. They just don't.
No, I mean, Micah Parsons, can only do so much. If you were able to eliminate him, their linebackers aren't all that great. Their secondary is really so overrated too. It's like it's just not anything that crazy. And it's just like you just saw it. Jordan Love was just able to do whatever he wants. And he wasn't even throwing to like Jaden Reed, right? He was the one that had the big game for them.
No, I don't think he.
No,
really
Jaden Reed had no. Jaden Reed, who was the one that had all the yards for them?
Dobbs.
Dobbs.
It was Dobbs. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's not even his number one target out there. Going off on them. It's the number 3 receiver, right? Because what's his name is the 2.
Dobbs.
Christian Watson, you think?
Yeah, but he's been loving Jaden Reed and.
Yeah,
And
they didn't
Christian
need it,
Watson.
but it was just a really balanced attack from the Packers, and that was what made it look so good. I mean, Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns. They were running the ball all over
Jones,
them.
how you doing, man?
Yeah.
I hate Aaron Jones just because fantasy-wise, he's just a bum. I mean, this dude just does not show up when you need him, and fantasy-wise, I'm talking fantasy-wise, does not show up, gets hurt constantly, and people just are all over this guy. I'm like, he's a bum, but last week, just absolutely destroyed the Cowboys defense.
Who we talking about? I started yet?
Yeah, right. But what do you think about them just already deciding, we're going with Mike McCarthy again, big talent pool with the coaching with coaches this offseason. It's just
I'm not surprised by it. I think the only move for them to really make was to go try and get a Bill Belichick. I thought it would have been cool. I
don't
think
see
outside
Belichick
of that,
going to
well,
Dallas,
exactly. But the rumors were for Belichick is he's looking to go to a team that has talent but hasn't really been able to put it together.
Right.
So immediately, the Cowboys were, in my mind, one of those teams. You got the Atlanta Falcons, and then you have the Chargers, of course, with Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. Even their defense, they had pieces of both and Khalil Mack.
He already interviewed for the Falcons, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Didn't he interview earlier this week or something?
May have.
Or they asked to interview him or something, but there were some stirrings already with him and the Falcons, which I don't think that's such a bad move. If they go out and get a QB, if they can maybe trade up and get one of those guys or something, and I mean that's a talented team. I mean Drake London's good, Kyle Pitts is good, Bijan is really good. The O-line is solid. They just don't have like a QB so. Yeah. And the defense isn't that bad, and Belichick's a defensive guy. He gets the most out of those like no-name guys. You know what I mean? Like he just finds a way to really like I'm trying to think of a word, but
he gets the most out of every player.
Yeah,
really.
just like it's guys that they're not first round picks. You know, they're not cream of the crop talent out of the free agency. It's guys you just don't really expect, and just under Belichick, they just flourish and thrive, and it's just different under him somehow.
Yeah, the Patriots and Belichick kind of remind me of the NBA comparison to them is like the Miami Heat, right? All these guys, like Spoelstra's obviously arguably the best coach in the league, but every year during their playoff runs, they have these guys and they just kind of overperform. And then a lot of these guys, if they're coming off a shorter contract, they get paid by another team. For example, Max Strus got paid by the Cavs. Then you got Gabe Vincent. He's been hurt, but he got signed by the Lakers. And they're expected to do these pivotal roles, and then a lot of guys kind of underperform. Yeah. And there was a report that came out, I think last week or something, from like an anonymous GM. He was like, it's really not a good idea to sign these guys or these Heat guys. They overperform under Spoelstra. Then you give them this money, and it's like they're really just they fit into that system so seamlessly.
It's just
they're really not that level of play.
It's those kind of coaches that just know how to create a system around that could fit any kind of player. Yeah, it's the old adage where it's just like you don't really have to do too much in order for Bill Belichick to cut you, but the second that Bill Belichick is cutting you, like that's it. It's just like you're damaged goods.
Was it J.C. Jackson that went to the Chargers and they gave him all this money?
Yeah, same thing. Like Nate. I know this is offensive wise, but Nate Solder going to the Giants, and it's just like guys like Bill Belichick isn't cutting you because you're talented and you're playing well. Bill Belichick is cutting you. Like Lloyd, they did an interview with Lawyer Malloy, and he was like, it takes next to nothing for Belichick to cut you. He's like, you can even be playing well, and Belichick will just be like, yeah, I just don't see you fitting here anymore. And it's like, it's just like, what does he see that other people don't? It's like, what does he see that some of these other coaches don't?
Just time and time again, it happens with Belichick. Right? We got J.C. Jackson, Nate Solder, but even blanking
it's even guys like
Jamie Collins, another guy. He went to the Browns, right? Yeah. Got all this money, and he underperformed. And then a lot of the funny thing is when these guys get cut or whatever it is, it doesn't work out. The Pats bring him back.
Yeah,
and they get him for nothing.
They'll get him on like a 1 or 2 year deal for like nothing, and then they'll go back to having like a solid season again. Yeah, it's just you wonder, it's like Zeke Elliott going out there and walking into a role when Ramondre Stevenson got hurt. And he just starts performing better, and you just sit there thinking, it's just like, well, if he were to do this would he do this on another team, or is he just like, is there just some sort of Belichick magic besides Mac Jones, because he's hot fucking garbage. I mean, they just find like these like, either like veterans that are just way past their prime to like come in and do the job for a year or two, or young guys that nobody looks at, and somehow he finds and snags them. He's done it for year after year, but they went with Gerard Mayo as their new head coach, who I think, as a player was so good. I don't think he even really played that long. It might have been injuries or something, but when he was there, he was really fucking good. And they're just gonna stay with that defensive mind, and I think that's such a good move now because of how offenses are like the focal point now. It's like trying to get like a quarterback for throwing for 4,000 yards. It's really narrowing it out. So having that defensive minded coach. I mean, you see it with the Jets. Like the Jets go 7-10 with the worst offense in the league, but they have the number, PFF rankings. I know we don't
take them with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you know it's like football, like you don't listen to PFF, but they had the worst ranked offense and the best ranked defense at PFF, but. They might have not been the best defense in the league, but they had, a top 5, arguably top 3. But they did have the worst offense. That's not an argument. And it's just like you could still win 7 games just by having a defense that's so good. And it's just like if you just have like a middle of the pack offense, you're making damage in the league.
Yeah, and that was kind of what we saw with the Browns on their run with Flacco. It's like their defense was elite, Flacco was doing enough, and they were winning games. And then it just kind of. What really happened in that playoff game, I guess we could touch on that. C.J. Stroud, I think he had an amazing game. Him and Jordan Love basically had the same identical stats, but we'll talk about that later. But Joe Flacco, the Browns defense just couldn't stop him.
Yeah, they didn't show up like everybody kind of thought they would. I mean, like you said, like I'm pretty sure all 3 of us last week, Sean to us here last week, we all were just like, oh, like, you know, we're going to go with the story of Joe Flacco. You know, he'd be going into Baltimore this week. But, I mean, C.J. Stroud just looked unreal. Nico Collins is coming out as, you know, he'll be a top 10, you know, receiver fantasy-wise next year, you know, if maybe top 7.
And they also have Tank Dell will be coming back.
Tank Dell will be coming back.
When healthy, he was also just dominant.
Dalton Schultz. I mean, Devin Singletary had a very good year for his first year being a, you know, like a primary back. It's just, you know, he took Damon Pierce's job right out from under him. I mean, Damon Pierce was supposed to be, you know, taking that jump after his rookie year. Everybody kind of liked what they saw, and he just flopped. So, I mean, you know, if they can maybe get a little production out of him next year and then keep Devin Singletary as that primary guy, I mean, you're looking at a really scary offense and just keep building on that defense. I mean, they had 2 guys with 10-plus sacks. The guy Grenard had, you know, he was top 5 or top 7 in sacks. So, I mean, they have, and that other guy was a rookie, Will Anderson.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's fighting for defensive rookie of the year, D. Roy. Sorry. So, I mean, they're in great shape right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just one of those things where we kind of all just really believed in the Browns defense because they've been doing it. And then you saw what Flacco had done in those 4 or 5 weeks where he was just playing at an elite level. Like, you don't want to overreact. Say he's elite now. He's 40 years old. Like, he probably won't be back next year.
Obviously not elite.
But then, you know, it just comes out. It's like both offenses started the game well. No one could get a stop. And then all of a sudden, you know, the Texans don't slow down. The Browns do. Yeah. They come out in the second half, and he throws back-to-back pick sixes, and then it was just it was just over.
That's once it's just. I think that's a good adjustment on the defense because they started getting pressure on Flacco, and then he's trying to get mobile, and as we all know,
that ain't his thing.
Yeah, that guy's got cinder blocks for feet. So I mean, he can't get mobile. He's trying to run and make things happen. He's forcing balls. I mean, he threw that one pick six. I don't even know. There's not even a receiver in the vicinity, and he just lobbed the ball up there.
It was bad.
He was just like, fucking somebody might be there.
It was bad. It was bad. But yeah, I mean, let me reset the camera, but I don't know who Bella is. She said Tina Dog.
I want to
talk about was that Rams-Lions game. Especially it got... Wait, turn that off. You're on.
Because you hear yourself in the background just talking.
Especially, though, for me, like, who really stood out, and we talked about him a lot over the past few weeks, but Puka Nacua, bro. He is like...
Just that,
it's such a shame that he isn't going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year, because he's just shattering fucking records left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the most receptions in a single season for a rookie. He gets the yards for a rookie. Right. Then he comes into the playoffs and puts up 190 yards and a touchdown. Right. And he was like... And we saw Cooper Kupp was just really not a factor.
No. I mean, he didn't really even need to be, but I mean...
Time and time again, bro, Puka's he's making these plays, man. It's like when you need him most, Stafford is looking at him now. He's not looking at Kupp, and he's making the play every single time.
Right. I mean, I don't watch much Rams, so I mean, obviously I watched the playoff game, but like, you know, maybe Cooper Kupp's really just not open, or just Puka is just always open. So it could be one of the two. Maybe Cooper's lost a step or so, but I mean, it's just like... It's just Stafford drops back, and it just seems like, bang, it's going right to Puka. I mean, I don't even, like, he had, 8 or 9 catches? I don't even know how many targets he had. He probably had, 12-plus targets.
Something like that. I think he had 8 for, 189, a touchdown, something like that. I know it was the rookie record for...
I mean, you may even need to start thinking, it's just like, do they need to bring in, another guy to kind of, I mean, get that offense kind of over the hump? Because, I mean... Kyron really was emerging as a top back these last few games. So you hope he builds. The offensive line seems to be in pretty good shape. Stafford doesn't, really seem to be, really slowing down too much. I mean, he kind of started off slow because I think it was just, Puka was kind of emerging, obviously as a rookie, and they had no run game.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to sling the ball all over the place. But I mean, from the midpoint season on, Stafford was looking like, a prime Stafford, and he was slinging it. He was slinging it fucking wow.
Yeah, I feel like really probably for them it's just obviously every year you're gonna get some new guys, but
who the fuck is Dag Reed?
They're just random. Shout out to Dag Reed.
Dag Reed.
Oh, the Great. We're stupid. The Great.
Dag Reed.
The Great. Yo, what up, the Great? King.
God, I can't fucking read.
But yeah, I think they'll probably I think they just need to work a little bit on the defense. But overall, like, I think the Lions played a great game, and I think the Rams played a good game.
Yeah, I mean,
it just came down to at the end that the Lions defense was able to make the stop. That's obvious.
I mean, I'm in Raw too. You just can't overlook him. You know, Jared Goff was really good. I think that was the big question mark. Was Jared Goff? You know, he was kind of cooling off a little bit towards the end of the season. So it was like, would Jared Goff be able to kind of like really spark them and get them over the hump? And you know, he came out and did his thing. And you know, first home playoff win for the Lions since, I don't know, what, Vietnam? I don't even know.
30 years? Well, I don't know. The first home game in 30 years. I don't know if they won.
I don't know.
You might be right, but I don't think home playoff game like the 6th.
I don't even
No, I don't know the official one, but it's just like, yeah, first home playoff win in a long fucking time.
Yo, Bella's still in the chat. Shout out to Bella. Yeah, I got a thing though. I'm just wondering though, as we watch these games and the season just has progressed, but is Puka Nacua entering the top 10 wide receivers?
Absolutely.
Like, because every step of the way, people have kind of doubted a few things. At first, it's just a few games. Second, it's the system. Stafford just, he targets these guys. Cooper Kupp's out. Then it was like, Cooper Kupp's going to come back. He's going to come back down to earth. And he just hasn't. And now he's done it in the playoffs as well. I mean, the guy almost had 200 yards in his first playoff game. I mean, it's just like it seems crazy to talk about a guy who was a 5th round pick last year, and no one really knew him, and he was a waiver pickup at fantasy. He was not a highly talked about guy, but he's doing it every single week.
That's the thing. It was just like, it comes down to like where do these people find these like guys like the scouts that just like, how did 4 rounds of players, get passed on before a guy like Puka Nacua gets looked at? I mean, you could say it about like so many guys where it's just like the scouting. It's just like, how does Dak Prescott fall to the 4th round? Why is Lamar Jackson the last guy being picked in the first round?
Why is Brock Purdy the last pick of the draft?
Why is Brock Purdy the last pick of the draft?
And then it's just like, and then we're Jets fans, like, why is Zach Wilson the second pick?
Yeah, and it's just like, why are we constantly picking, top 5 QBs that just fucking blow? And it's just...
And all these other teams just find ways. I mean, the thing about the Rams, too, is like, if you thought about the Rams, like, they traded all these first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey. They signed all these guys to all this money. They didn't have much to work with. There was no flexibility, really.
Oh, yeah.
They came in and they hit on Kyron Williams. They hit on Puka Nacua. They hit on other few guys who I'm blanking on their names right
Even
now.
Kyron Williams, 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, they hit on all these guys, and they were able to rebuild their team through the draft without these first, second-round pick guys. Like, they were able to just see the talent. Yeah. And there's a video, it was going around, it was of Sean McVay and the Rams talking about Puka in like the pre-draft or on draft night. And
oh, really?
Yeah. It was like their whole process. No, it was like they something that they saw. I don't remember who exactly it was in their scout team, but they saw something in him, and immediately, I mean, first week, 15 targets, he went off.
I mean, that was like they were saying during the game for Puka, it was like the second he put the pads on and they started going live, they were like, oh, like he's like a tall, like kind of lanky guy, like, and they were just like, nobody can bring this guy down. They're just like, we don't know what it is. It's not like he's not like this like monster like like Calvin Johnson or something. It's just like they were just like, he's just hard to tackle for some reason. And he did, he was showing like in the game he was breaking tackles left and right. But I mean, we're focusing a lot on the Lions. I mean, on the Rams, and it's just like they did so much and still lost that game. It's just like, yeah, I think that's really a credit to the Detroit Lions for just just battling throughout that game. I mean, I can't say enough for how Jared Goff played, and and honestly the defense played well enough all year that it's allowing the guy Aaron Glenn, ex-Jet legend, he's getting head coach list now. And they're I mean he's gonna be a head coach next year for his first time. After having a really good couple of years as a defensive coordinator for the Lions, even the Lions offensive coordinator is getting head coaching looks. So, I mean, Dan Campbell's gonna have to really go this offseason might be tough, and it might really affect them because now you're talking about how they were clicking on offense, clicking on defense, and now all of a sudden it's all right. Well, we're bringing in 2 different coordinators because Dan Campbell doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's out there calling plays to me. I mean, he's really just he's heart and soul, but not X's and O's. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. He also, I mean, it's paid off for him this year. I don't know what the stat was. They showed it during the game, but the amount of times that this guy's just going for it on 4th down.
I mean, that's it.
They succeeded, you know.
But that's like
Sunday.
Once again, it's like that's heart and soul. That's not like.
Oh yeah, no.
That's not like, you know, like everybody's into the analytics, and he's like, analytics be damned. Like, I have confidence in my guys, and they're gonna go get it done for me. And you know, like if they do, they do. But you know, teams are gonna start kind of keening in on that. Where it's like, all right, like we gotta start, you know, figuring out what they're doing on 4th down and how we can kind of defend it.
With that being said, I mean, before we move on to the next thing, I wanted to do a would you rather with Puka Nacua.
Would you rather? There probably ain't much I'm going to say rather over Puka.
All right. So, would you rather Puka Nacua? So, first up is Puka Nacua or DJ Moore?
Puka.
That's easy.
I would go Puka as well. I think DJ Moore is great. He had a great year, DJ Moore. He's 6th in yards this season.
Yeah.
And I think outside of those games where Justin Fields was out, he was averaging some crazy number of yards per game.
I'm sure, but I just like Puka as a whole. I think just a better game. Plus, he's a bigger threat, you know, or a bigger target, I should say.
And DJ Moore a little bit of a small guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would go Puka as well. Next up, I got Puka Nacua or Amari Cooper. It's tough because when he has a good quarterback, Amari Cooper is a dog.
When Amari Cooper's getting his targets and his looks, he is a dog. I think I got Cooper. I think he's just not getting the love that he should be getting in Cleveland. Because when, like you said, like if he's getting his looks and getting his targets, I mean, Amari Cooper is that dude.
I agree to some degree, but I think I would still go Puka. I think for me, a lot of it is availability. I feel like recently,
a lot of Puka.
Puka, he's just really proving to be like one of these elite receivers. He's putting up these crazy numbers, but on top of that, is Amari Cooper. He's kind of had like these injuries, and like he has games where he just disappears. And obviously, is a mixture of everything. Sometimes it's on the receiver, sometimes it's on the quarterback play. He hasn't had the best quarterback play.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you're sitting there, like you go from Deshaun Watson, who's possibly the most overrated QB of all time, you know, and you stick in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, P.J. Walker, right? P.J. Walker had for a surprise appearance, and then you get Joe Flacco off the couch, where it's just like, yeah, you know, like. He was playing well. It's like Joe Flacco isn't building chemistry with him. He's building chemistry with all these other guys, and it's just, you know, Amari Cooper might have to suffer just because they're always gonna draw their attention to Cooper, and I think that allowed for a lot in Njoku, and you know Cooper. You know, I would pick him over Puka. Like you said, it's also been one season out of Puka.
Exactly. Next up. Puka Nacua or Chris Olave?
Puka.
I would go Puka as well.
I think Olave is really good. Obviously, not the best Ohio State receiver in the league right now. We all know who is. Shout out Garrett Wilson, changing numbers, number 5. A lot of respect to Thomas Morstead for giving that up. Our best offensive player. But yeah, Puka over Olave.
Okay, I got 2 more for you.
If you say Garrett Wilson, it's automatically Garrett Wilson.
Well,
so don't you skip that.
That was going to be my next guy, but I will skip it. All right, so I got 2 more still. All right.
And that's not even like a Jet favoritism. I just think, I mean, look at what Garrett Wilson's doing
with what he's working with.
With Chills Wilson,
Zach Wilson,
Tim Boyle. I mean, you got some Trevor Siemian in there. Chris Streveler. If I ever see Chris fucking Streveler's name ever again on an NFL roster, I'm gonna lose my mind. That man is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen throw a football. That man has I've seen high school quarterbacks with a better arm than Chris Streveler. I don't even know how I made it to the NFL.
All right, I got 2 more. Puka Nacua or Mike Evans?
Mike Evans. I mean, he's just automatic. It's a guaranteed 1,000 yards, guaranteed 10+ tutties. It doesn't matter who's at QB for him. I know, obviously, like lately he's had some really good, but like before Tom Brady, he was still getting it done, and just consistently been getting it done.
I agree. I think it's Mike Evans. I mean, he's just like you said. He's one of those guys. I mean, he's the first guy I think in NFL history to have his first 10 seasons, 1,000 yards in every season. He does it with whoever is playing quarterback. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And he's proven when he has that quarterback play, as guys like Brady, he's just gonna dominate.
Yeah, I mean, even this year with Baker, had another, he had another fantastic year. And he's even getting up there in age. Obviously, like you said, 10+ seasons. Like when in NFL wise. That means you're hitting your 30s, and that's when guys really start to lose a step, you think, especially at the skill position. Yeah. And it just doesn't really seem like he's slowing down. Potential future Jet right there. He's in the free agency. I don't think he's gonna leave Tampa Bay, but I mean, you like to listen to rumors as a Jet fan just because that's all you got.
Yeah, I agree. Last up, another young guy, Puka Nacua or Nico Collins.
Nico Collins, man.
I think Nico is just explosive. He just the big play factor too, and I don't know what it is. I just think I think he's so good, and I think next year he's gonna be like, I think he's gonna be top 5. I think Puka's gonna be right around there, but I don't know what it is. It's just something that I would just take Nico Collins.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would lean Nico. It's close for me because Puka, he's just so steady, and that's what makes him such a great receiver. But Nico Collins, like you said, he's got the size, he's got the explosiveness, and he just finds a way to get it done.
That's the thing with Puka. It's like it doesn't seem like he's like overly fast. Where it's like the Keenan Allens and Mike Evanses, where it's like, all right, like I get it, they're big, but they're not fast. It doesn't really seem like they're like very quick. Like they don't really seem like they're making like these like fast cut moves and everything. But like they're just always open. I mean, must be just like their route running must just be like fucking some other next level that I don't understand.
I think it's that, and just like you just have some of these guys just have great hands. Like Puka makes a lot of contested tough catches,
that's
game after game, and it's like he's not afraid to get hit. He's gonna stay there. He's gonna make the catch. Like he's not afraid, and that's the way he does things. It just works.
I would love to see Garrett Wilson get better at, because there's been some balls where I'm just like like that next level for him, I think, is really catching those like contested balls, those one-on-ones, where it's just like you need to be able to trust him on in the goal line inside the 5 to just be able to just lob one up at the back corner of the end zone. It's just like I feel like he doesn't come down with enough of them.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he doesn't come down with it, but I feel like he doesn't come down with enough.
Yeah, he's had some, obviously it's a shit season with the quarterback play. But he's had some rough games where he's made some crucial fumbles, some drops.
I mean, it's like a lot of like him and Brees like reiterated, where it's like you start losing, you get down early, and you're just trying to do too much. You're trying to really kind of get things going and start getting the ball rolling, and it's just game after game, just nothing happening. So you just try too much to do something that's going to get things moving, and then it just ends up biting you in the ass. Like that. Yeah, you do a couple more. Well, you said you wanted to do some lists. I was liking that idea of the who benefits the most.
Yeah, I think that too. I mean, is there any team we didn't talk about? I mean, we could quickly go over the Bills.
Bills just Josh Allen just out there. Like it's a shame that there's not like an entire postseason MVP, because if Josh Allen, I mean, I guess it's tough to say because it's. But I mean, Josh Allen, if they did like an MVP like week after week kind of thing, like how they do like the AFC player of the week, like if they just did like, all right, wild card player of the week, I mean, Josh Allen. It's what do you got to say, bro? I mean, besides that fake slide bullshit that they got to fucking look at and potentially ban, because
the Kenny Pickett classic.
Bro, he does that all the time, Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. The famous clip of Kenny Pickett doing it is. He sold that shit, Kenny Pickett. Josh Allen's are a little bit more.
Josh Allen.
It's almost like he's doing like a fucking stutter step, like in basketball.
But like he's stuttering to a point. It's just like that's why like I put out a tweet. I was like, 10 years ago, Josh Allen's career is over. You start stutter stepping and like pretending like you're gonna go down, and like you're playing 10, 15 years ago Pittsburgh Steelers defense with Troy Polamalu coming over. Like that's Troy Polamalu coming over as the safety. he's ending your fucking career. Brian Dawkins ending your career.
Yeah.
Ed Reed is ending your career. You know, it's tough now. It's just like, yeah, like everyone's like, you show the clip, like, oh, Josh Allen, like, he lowered his shoulder into that safety and again ran him over. It was just like, yeah, but like that safety like hesitated because if he touches Josh Allen while he's sliding, it's a 15-yard penalty, and then he hesitates, he bites him in the ass, and then Josh Allen fucking is big enough where he can bulldoze him over, and then bam, 50-yard tummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a BS move.
We got Jill Bort. Jill Bort, user something.
User 38736709125.
Shout out to the one person who's in the live. I don't know who you are, but shout out to you.
You can't see him?
Nah, you can only see who joins.
Top viewers, Deli.
Yo, Deli, what up?
Elvin Lauren T.
You can see top viewers?
It says top viewers and me.
And me?
Why would they own it? I don't know. Is there other people?
Bro, the story has like fucking 700 views.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey. Pop is cool. What up, baby?
Yo. Who's? I don't know.
What?
Yo, what up? Yeah, so let's get into the next segment.
Which QB benefits most legacy-wise from winning this year's Super Bowl?
I think we're both probably on the same page. That's Lamar.
Yeah.
I mean, to get his second MVP this year, which he will get, and then to top that all off with a Super Bowl and presumably a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, it's going down in one of those amazing seasons. You know, not too many guys are on that list of winning the MVP, winning the Super Bowl MVP in the same year, and on top of that, being a multi-time MVP.
Right.
You're in rare air.
I think we're all in agreement that he's probably going to win the MVP this year, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about two-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. It's just like, he's the greatest running quarterback of all time, and he's really solidifying himself into like being like one of the better, all-around quarterbacks of all time. His passing has been just leaps and bounds better every year. Like obviously everybody when he was getting drafted was just like, oh, he's a running back. Now he's a legitimate pocket passer who can run. And it's just his growth is really shown, and him winning the Super Bowl this year, I mean that, like you said, it just like kind of solidifies, I think, his Hall of Fame. Because I mean, the NFL Hall of Fame's a fucking joke. It's the easiest Hall of Fame to get into.
I think the Basketball Hall of Fame is probably the easiest to get into.
Bro, Terrell Davis played like 4 full seasons. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. Like what? Like yeah, don't get me wrong. The only like you could say you'd be like, oh yeah, he had a 2,000-yard season, or he had 2,000-yard seasons, or whatever. But like the guy's like 50th all time on the NFL rushing list. It's like, bro, like how is that Hall of Fame worthy? He had 2 good seasons.
Yeah, I think another thing with Lamar is to give him more credit is the passing. Like we all criticize it for the most part over the years. That's been the biggest flaw in his game. But the best thing about this season is he's getting it done with really not that great of a supporting cast. You got Mark Andrews who went down. Yeah. I don't even know if they've lost a game since Mark Andrews went down. They got Zay Flowers pretty much as their wide receiver one. He's a rookie.
Right.
Then you got OBJ coming off the ACL. Rashad Bateman, who's underperformed his whole career.
Rashad Bateman's never been it.
And even the running back situation, though, it's like J.K. Dobbins out for the season.
Yeah,
like
J.K.
they're
Dobbins
working
was
with Gus
supposed to-
Edwards. Like
Yeah.
he's finding ways to get it done no matter what is going on with that
Shout out,
offense.
man, Gus Edwards, though,
Yeah,
He kind of
touchdown machine.
Yeah, kind of balled out though.
But yeah.
Like you're saying, it's like J.K. Dobbins is supposed to be, the number one, the clear cut number one. Like you said, Zay Flowers is solid, but he's not like, he's not a top tier, number one receiver. And then outside of him, you have an aging, hurting Odell Beckham. Rashad Bateman is basura. And then I don't even know who the backup tight end for them is. Like who's Mark Andrews' replacement?
Likely.
Yeah,
Who stepped up really? He was great for them.
Yeah,
Likely,
that's Isaiah Likely is solid, but he's not Mark Andrews. He's very solid. I mean, it's just really been like, all right, Lamar was just like, look, let's get it rolling. Like, come on, I'm going to try and take us to the promised land. And obviously the AFC favorite, I still like Buffalo, but I mean, who would you put number 2 though? Like, so like, who would you, like, if you were to give me like a 1, 2, 3.
So if we got the quarterbacks who would winning the Super Bowl would benefit them the most. I would put Lamar at 1. I would put Josh Allen at 2, and I would put Jared Goff at 3.
Wow, I was gonna go with the same exact list.
Because I think with Josh Allen, he hasn't won the MVP. He's not going to win it this year. He's come close quite a few times.
Right.
But he's got these crazy numbers, right?
Right.
And he's been kind of going into last season, he was like, all right, he's the clear number 2. Then after last season, people were like, nah, it's Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. We don't know if we can trust him. This season, they start off 6-6. People are questioning him even more. He has costly interceptions, even though a lot of his interceptions are arm punts, but we're not going to get into that.
I did see that clip where it's like, look, I don't care, man. The guy just fucking rolls out and just launches the ball down the field. It's just like, there's stupid throws he doesn't need to be making. You know?
Yeah, some of them though, it's like it's 4th down. He
right.
launched it into the end zone. They stupidly catch the ball. Should have let it drop.
Right.
But and then Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff. I think he'd be one of the
borderline Hall of Fame career. It's like
he's got great numbers, and now it's like if he's going to be one of the few. He would be one of the few players in the league to lead 2 teams to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they lost the first one. It was a shit show. They scored 3 points.
Yeah,
but
was that 10?
Or 9-3 or whatever it went.
I think it was
9-6.
10 or 13. They lost to the Patriots, I think.
Yeah, that was that year. I don't even think there wasn't a touchdown scored.
Right.
Might not have been. But like I was saying, like for Jared Goff to
shout out
be,
Barry
was he the first one? Was he the first pick in the draft, Jared Goff?
Yeah, he was.
So to be the first pick in the draft, right?
That's the thing with him. Sorry to cut you off again, but like it's like there's a lot of like, oh, he's like his whole career is like he's a little overhyped, first overall pick. Like we never really did enough to be like, oh, like this guy was that first overall pick. So winning a Super Bowl now, it's just like, hey, like, and he's been playing very well these last few years, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, the whole thing is like, being the first pick, leading that Rams team to the Super Bowl, losing, then getting traded because they thought he was the reason they couldn't get over the hump.
Right.
Then you see him, they're on that team where they can't win. I think they like 0-14, 0-15. They ended up winning a game finally. So it's like, he helped Detroit rebuild completely. Then they get their first home game in 30 years. And then he beats Matt Stafford, who they traded him for, to advance. And then if he's able to pull this off, win the Super Bowl MVP, it's just like, it's just this amazing story. And the story, I think, is almost as good as whatever the accomplishment is. It's about, people are drawn to the story.
Right.
So to me, even now that I'm saying that, I was like, I might even put Jared Goff at 2.
I could totally see that. I would still say Josh Allen too, just because like you're saying, it's like Josh Allen has been sitting there these past few years, and everyone's like, well, is he a top, is he that top 3 QB? Is he sitting there? It's Mahomes, then who? It's always Mahomes, then who? Even if Lamar wins the MVP this year, like I don't care what anybody says, Patrick Mahomes, he needs to have a couple seasons where people are playing better than him, and Mahomes still had a solid season. It's just like with who's who cast, the
Kadarius Toney show ain't pretty.
Yeah,
he is terrible.
I mean, he kept throwing the ball to Kadarius Toney, who everybody in the stadium knows this dude can't catch. I mean. Yeah, I like Travis Kelce, down year. Shout out T Swift for dragging him down. What's it called? Rashee Rice kind of emerging as, a potential guy who could be like a solid number 1, but then outside of him, it's just like, who?
Yeah, I think.
Mahomes is obviously number 1, and it's just like Josh Allen has just been year after year getting disrespected, and I think he showed this year that he's the second best quarterback. But it's like, once again, it's just like, well, Lamar's going to be the MVP, so is he?
Yeah, I think it's just... I think another thing about the Bills and Josh Allen is...
Fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. Never seen it.
Oh, grapefruit is... I remember my first time trying grapefruit. I was in Florida. I thought it was an orange. I've been into that shit. I was spit it out.
I love grapefruit. My mom eats grapefruit all the time.
Yeah. So what I was saying was,
love is good.
Looks great.
Another thing that Josh Allen, like, people don't even take this into account is, like, outside of Stephon Diggs and this year James Cook, I would say in about half their games, that supporting cast is terrible. Gabe Davis, going into last year, we were so high on him because he had that 4-touchdown game.
Gabe Davis.
He is.
What a fucking bum.
He's a wide receiver 3 at best.
He is the definition of boom or bust for this guy. I traded him away in fantasy. It was just like 100-yard game.
Then he gets nothing.
Yeah, so then like he's on your bench for the he scores 20 points on your bench, and then the next 4 weeks you have him in your starting lineup, putting up a hot 3 points, and then you bench him again because you're like, well, this guy's trash, and then bang, 20-point game. It's just like I will say James Cook, great season. Dalton Kincaid.
He had his moments.
He showed that he could probably be a really good. If they have him and Dawson Knox, that's a really good combo. But yeah, I mean, outside of Diggs, they need to go get another receiver because, what's his name? Shakir.
He had a good season.
I mean, he's
another boomer bust guy.
He's
a speedster. He has his moments. He's torched the Jets. But they need a consistent every down wide receiver too.
Yeah,
I think they need a big receiver. Really.
I think that's what they wanted Gabe Davis to be, but he's just not.
He's not.
They need somebody across from Stephon Diggs because he's Stephon Diggs. Like he started getting into a lull, midway point of that season, and it was like all right, just double team Diggs, and then Gabe Davis can't get open anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, I just wonder. We talked about this before, potentially being a Jet, but if Mike Evans is gonna, if Mike Evans walks from Tampa Bay, what about Mike Evans to Buffalo?
I mean,
he could slot. We've seen him be effective with him and Chris Godwin, and it's obviously Diggs is better than Chris Godwin, but him and Diggs together, he's a bigger receiver. He's consistent every single year.
That would just be fuck that.
For Jets fans, it would be terrible, but I don't know about the cap situation, but Mike Evans to Buffalo, depending on how this season goes for them, it would be a problem for the league.
That would be one hell of a. I mean, Josh Allen's throwing 50 touchdowns if that's the case.
Yeah, he would. I mean, he'd be a front runner for the MVP. I think if they got Mike Evans.
God, I wouldn't even put a running back out there. They'd be like, who's not throwing or running the ball? Us, because I have Stephon Diggs and Mike Evans, and I'm just going to throw the ball 87 times again. It's like, well, try and stop me. I mean, it's just that would be so bad. But I'm going to throw out a couple honorable mentions. We were talking about the number 1 draft pick thing. I mean, Baker Mayfield. If he were to drag this team to the Super Bowl, where it's like, all right, like, Brady this, Brady that, and it's just like, look, I came in and people were doubting my career, doubting if I could be a starter again, and then he had a very good season this year. And if he wins a Super Bowl, it's just like, well, Baker was worth that pick. Cleveland couldn't get it done, but Baker is a great QB.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that I'm pretty sure he's on a $4 million. He's getting paid $4 million this year. Like it was a prove-it contract.
Yeah.
And you could say whatever you want. I've hated on him in the past.
Absolutely.
He proved it. Like
absolutely hated on Baker Mayfield.
He's shown every hater.
I'll hate on Baker Mayfield next year. Right now, I love you because you want me $500 this year. Next year, I'll be right back on the fucking train of hating you.
Yeah.
I mean, another guy, Jordan Love, like we were saying. I mean, coming out of Aaron Rodgers' shadow, really being able to say, like, putting his stamp, on the league this year. And, I mean, what better way to do it than the Super Bowl? Saying, hey, I'm here and I'm here to stay.
Yeah, and then, I mean, up there, we haven't talked about him yet in this conversation, but C.J. Stroud. I mean, if C.J. Stroud leads the Texans to a Super Bowl in his first year, I mean, I don't think any rookie quarterback has ever done that, and I mean, I guess it would just be automatically become the best rookie season of all time.
Rookie quarterback.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure that no rookie quarterback has ever led their team to a Super Bowl, yet alone win Super Bowl MVP. I mean, we don't know how things are going to go, but if he pulls that off with this cast, which, guys are stepping up. Nico Collins has been great. Devin Singletary has been great. Dalton Schultz has been great.
Big Ben.
Big Ben did it?
Big Ben won his rookie year.
Did he win?
Yeah.
He won the Super Bowl?
He's Big Ben's got 2 Super Bowls.
Big Ben won the Super Bowl his rookie year?
Let me double check
this. Hold on. Ben Roethlisberger. Which rookie quarterbacks have started in conference championship games? Holy fuck up that. Have any rookie quarterbacks won the Super Bowl? Oh, no, never mind. Big Ben's, I guess it was Big Ben's second year they won the Super Bowl. So very early in his career.
They won that
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
But, yeah, I mean, if C.J. Stroud becomes the first rookie quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl MVP, on top of the season that he's having right now, he's going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year over Puka, even though Puka is deserving as well. I mean, I think it's just the best rookie. It's obviously the best rookie season of all time. And, you know, it's history. I don't know what else you really say, but if he does that, I mean, I think he immediately just jumps into the top 5 conversation without question. I mean, people could already make the case for him. I wouldn't just yet, but if he does this, if he pulls off this run, I mean, he's already defeated the Browns. Obviously, the Browns team as a whole isn't great, but they've got one of the best defenses in football.
Right.
There's no question about that, and he dismantled them.
I mean, he's even battled himself, you know. I mean, Tank Dell going down, you know, he got concussed against the Jets, you know, and that season was like, looking pretty grim for them, and he came back and he won a couple big games for them and sprung them into playoffs, you know, got them a home game nonetheless, and fucking, you know, like you say, it would obviously go down as the best rookie season ever. You know, I mean, and just that would be just another huge blow to Carolina, because it's just you're sitting there this whole time, just watching this man just bowl out just leaps and bounds better than Bryce Young, and you know they made an emphatic point that they wanted Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, and it's just horrifically biting them in the ass. Although I don't know if C.J. Stroud would have been able to do what he did in Carolina.
I don't.
I mean,
think
Carolina would have been obviously much better off.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina. At the end of the day, that team is just terrible.
Yeah. There's no
And I think the
talent
Texans, like, we sleep on how talented the Texans roster outside
Right.
of C.J. Stroud is. But yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. If you look at it, it's a miss. It's a bad miss.
A huge miss. And well, I'm gonna say this lastly too for you know, legacy wise. I mean, I said this before the pod even started. If Pat Mahomes wins a 3rd Super Bowl, to me, he's the 2nd greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, he's
With a lot of time to go.
with a lot of time to go, and it's just like he's gonna. I think he's gonna eventually win a 3rd one. He's got so much time left in his career, but I mean the trajectory he's on. I mean, this guy's gonna play 15 plus years. You know, maybe close to 20, if he stays healthy and he just, you know, he stays smart. You know, because he does like to run the ball. So if he stays smart in that aspect, you know, but I mean he'll be on, you know, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers statistic levels, and you know 3 Super Bowls, potentially 4, just because of the, you know, the longevity that, you know, he has left in his career. I mean he'll be the 2nd. I mean I think if he just wins a 3rd one, he's the 2nd best quarterback of all time.
100%. Yeah.
You talk about QBs with multiple Super Bowls. You know, obviously Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, but then you got fucking guys like Troy Aikman who are fucking trash. Is that like Terry Bradshaw who's got an ass load for no reason?
Yeah.
I'll go with it. All right, so what do we got?
How's Amanda on tonight?
Is that my fantasy basketball team?
JMS all night. Nope. 4-1-1. I did him to have 30 overall.
How much time's left?
The 3rd quarter.
Get out. Probably not gonna hit that.
Probably not gonna hit that at all.
What does it mean? He has 6 total stats, and out of points, rebounds, assists, I aim to have 31. Oh, it's halftime. I mean, he could go off.
It's possible.
It is possible.
All right. So what do we got? What do we got right now?
All right,
This
so
week? It's 4 games.
4 games.
Four
Yes.
games.
So we're gonna start off Houston and Baltimore. 9-point favorites are Baltimore. That is hit. This is on the Score app.
Score.
I don't know. I'm not going off FanDuel. I'm just going off this one app. It's the Score.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty popular app. So I mean,
If
not-
we're
not
talking
fan-
gambling, I think I would take the Texans. That's a big spread.
That's a big.
That's
spread.
a big spread.
Big spread for a very high power.
Yes,
offense.
but as far as picks, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think it might start off a little bit slow because, you know, they had that week off. It could be a little rusty.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that defense is so good. Lamar's been so good. I don't see them slowing down. I think they win this game pretty easily. I still think the Texans might cover. Nine's a big number.
Yeah, I think.
I think comfortably the Ravens.
I think, like, you know, I was saying this a lot last week, where it's like, you know, the game will end up close. I think Texans will cover, but I think it'll just be Baltimore in the driver's seat for most of the game.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, I think the offense might start off, the first couple of drives maybe a little slow, just because like you're saying, like that week off for offenses is a lot different, but the defense is just going to be so fresh.
Yeah.
So I think the defense coming out and they'll be able to kind of put the clamps on C.J. Stroud a little bit. Maybe not entirely, just because I think that offense is so good, but I think enough for Lamar to kind of, start getting rolling, and him and Zay Flowers, I think, are gonna be in for a big game. All right. Then we got, so that's the first game on Saturday. Second game on Saturday is Green Bay versus the Niners. Niners are 9.5-point favorites. A lot of big spreads this week.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm gonna rock with the Niners. I think their talent is just undeniable. They got the best running back in the league, arguably the best tight end in the league. One of the top defenses. Their wide receiving core is just insane with Ayuk and Debo.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Purdy. People hate on him. I like Purdy. I think if he's a game manager, he's the best.
He's
the best game manager there is.
They're saying, Alex Smith was a game manager, and he is so much better than Alex Smith was. It's just, I don't think he's a game manager. I think people are just hating.
Yeah.
But he's just so good. I mean, they were like we were talking about that in one of the pods when we were talking about him for MVP. He's got the most air yards for a QB, whereas he's averaging 10 yards in the air. So the ball is traveling 10 yards before it gets caught, which was the highest in the league at that point. And this was week 15 or 16. It's not like we were talking about week 3. So it was he was throwing the ball, and they're like, oh, he just checks down and throws screens. It was just that's a part of their style. But he does throw the ball. He does throw medium to deep routes. He throws them well and accurately. So I'm gonna go with the same. I think the Niners cover this. I think they win this game by 2 scores, 2 touchdowns. I'm saying not just not 10, but I'm saying 14 plus points. I think they win this game very decisively.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Packers have had a great year. Yeah, I think what's gonna hold them back is they don't have the star power on offense.
No,
Jordan Love is good. They don't have that. They don't have the Devontae Adams anymore.
But Aaron Jones isn't running 3 touchdowns.
No, it's just not happening.
I think they blew their load last week and put up 42 points, and then trying to do that again. I mean, in order for them to win, they got to put up 24 to 30 points against this team. I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I
think experience was going to come into play. This Niners team, they've got vets.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously Purdy, he only had the one playoff. Last year he ended up getting hurt. But all these other guys, they've been there. This is nothing new to them, and I think they cover as well. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Yeah. All right, first game Sunday. We got Bucks, Lions. Lions 6.5-point favorites.
So this game is in. Did you see that Todd Bowles clip where they asked him about the weather or something? He was like, they play.
What an idiot!
He's like, they play in a dome. They always have.
Yeah, it was like, is weather going to be a factor? And it's just like, well, we're playing inside, so no. She was like, oh, are you guys doing anything, special to prepare for the weather? And he's just like, well, we're only going to be outside from the bus till we get into, the 20 seconds till we walk inside the stadium. So I think we'll be all right.
It's so dumb. But what is the spread for this game?
6.5 for the Lions.
I'm going to take the Lions, but I think this game is close, and I could easily see the Bucks winning this game.
I'm going to take the Bucks. I think bare minimum they cover.
So the spread is Bucks are the underdog.
The Bucks are the underdog.
I would bet on the Bucks. I would bet that spread myself.
Honestly, I'm gonna take the Bucks. I think they come out. I think the defense comes out and just puts heavy pressure on Jared Goff, and I think he gets overwhelmed too quickly. I mean, if they could just limit Amon-Ra. I mean, outside
really the run game, I would say. The Lions run, that 2-headed run attack. I'm a big Jahmyr Gibbs fan, but Ted Montgomery, he deserves his flowers too. He's been great. Yes. That line is super underrated, I feel like.
Yeah.
People don't. I mean, obviously, anyone who really knows football knows they have a top offensive line, but I feel like people still sleep on what that line does. I don't know if I believe in their defense that much.
No, but
at home, it's hard for me to go against the Lions. I can see this going either way. I'll take the Lions, but if I'm betting, I would bet the -6 for the Bucks.
I just think
I'm rooting for the Bucks. I think.
I think the Bucks are gonna take this one. I think that's the one upset this week. I think I'm gonna go with. I think last week we went very heavy upset week, and it really just didn't. I think the Bucks were. Well, no, the Bucks and the Packers were two upsets.
Yeah. The spread was like two. It was like two.
Right.
What happened?
I think Baltimore Houston might have been favored just because they were home.
Yeah.
Chiefs were home, so they were favored. Buffalo was favored, and Detroit was favored. So I mean, the two underdog teams are coming in this week, Packers and Bucks. But I think the Bucks pull off. I really do. I don't know what. I just think they do.
What do we got for the
last game of the week? 6:30 Sunday night. We got Chiefs going to Buffalo.
Buffalo
3-point favorite.
Buffalo's the favorite.
Well, they're home. It's just a home.
The Chiefs
like what's
had their number.
Listen.
I think this is the game of the week, in my opinion. I think they saved the best for last.
I think it has to be. I mean, just because like you're talking about Mahomes, Allen, and I think this is Allen's year. I think the Bills are gonna make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm going Buffalo.
What's the spread?
3. Buffalo's being given 3.
I think I would bet the Chiefs if we're talking spread. I think if whoever wins this game, I think it comes down to a field goal or at least one score.
I can see that. I mean, I wonder what the weather's going to be like again.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like both these teams aren't fazed by the weather. We saw what the Chiefs did last week in -9. We've seen what the Bills have done in the snow.
I mean, it does always kind of factor in where it's just like, how can you do in the passing game? You know, you got to rely a little bit more on the run game and stuff. Yeah, I mean, even Buffalo, like the kicking was tough. You know, like in games like that, if it's coming down to a field goal, and you got high winds, and you're trying to trust your kicker out there, and 20 mile an hour winds, 15, 20 mile an hour winds, it's tough. You know, that's make or break.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one because I want the Bills bad. I'm so tired of the Chiefs.
Nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. It's the Bills year. It's Bills Mafia year. It pains me to say it as a Jet fan, but it's Bills Mafia year. I think this has to be the year. It's like, how many more years can you keep running it back with the same guy? I mean, obviously Allen's not going anywhere.
But the Diggs cast, I
mean, like the defense has been there together for a while. You know, I feel like this has got to be the year where Allen really just gets over that hump and gets that first ring.
It just has to be.
I think this game is close. I think if I was betting, I would probably take the Chiefs -3.
Chiefs
minus
+3.
Oh, Chiefs +3.
Chiefs +3.
But I'm gonna go with the Bills. It's hard to root for the Bills, but it's also not because Buffalo. Like, I don't know. There's something about Buffalo, even though they're in the same division as us. There's really not much of a rivalry. Like, they haven't won anything. We haven't won anything. We've just both sucked for a really long time.
It's even Miami. It's just like, all three of us.
Outside of the Patriots.
Outside the Patriots, none of us have done anything.
But I mean, I think it's finally time that. I do think the AFC East is set up very nicely for these next few years. If the Jets could get a nice little offseason. Same thing with the Pats. If they can get a nice little offseason, I think we're going to see like a real powerhouse in the AFC East again. But I mean, it's going to run through Buffalo. And I think Buffalo, they're obviously the best team. Miami was a little fraudulent this year, but I mean, Buffalo just came out and just really got hot. They really showed their true colors the last, 5 weeks or whatever.
Oh yeah, they were 6-6. I don't think they've lost. They've lost a game since.
They went 5-0 to win the division, and I think that's a key factor in the playoffs, in any playoff race. You don't necessarily have to have the best record. You just have to be the hottest team.
Who's hot?
They are the hottest team.
It's every sport. They are the hot team. 6-0 in their last, obviously in their last 6, and 5-0 to win out, win the division, get some home playoff games. I think it's just Buffalo right now is the team to beat in the AFC.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna rock with them too. I'm gonna root for them. But yeah, I mean, it should be a good week. This episode's coming out a little bit late. Gonna be coming out tomorrow, Friday, but we're gonna record on Monday, so we'll have
some reviews again.
We'll have a lot. We'll talk to. We got Chris coming on.
Yeah, buddy, Chris Bifoco. Hopefully he can take a little time away from the son and his pregnant wife. To come out here. Got to give a shout out to the wife, Caitlin, for allowing him to come out here and come talk with the boys for a little bit. But should be good. I think it's gonna be a really good weekend of games.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be. I think, like you said, last week was a little bit dull. But I think this week's gonna be. I think this week's gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna be not a lot of shootouts. I want to say, but
good games.
I think just good football. I think it's gonna be some good football this week.
Cool. All right. Good up.